Most people live their entire lives avoiding the truths that could set them free. Today, I'll show you the 10 truths that will change how you see life forever. Do you ever feel stuck, frustrated, or like life isn't going the way it should? The Stoics understood why, and they have answers that still apply today. In this video, you'll discover the harsh truths about life that most people ignore, and how embracing them can transform your mindset, your happiness, and your future. Truth 1. Life is suffering, and that's okay. Life is filled with challenges, pain, and suffering. This is not a new revelation. It's a reality that humanity has grappled with since the dawn of time. The Stoics understood this well, and instead of resenting it, they embraced it. As Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, famously said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This single principle encapsulates the Stoic approach to suffering. Accept what is outside your control and focus on mastering your mind. To fully understand why suffering is not only inevitable but necessary, let's break this truth down. Suffering is a fundamental part of life because it arises from the very nature of existence. We are imperfect beings living in an imperfect world. Challenges are woven into the fabric of reality. Physical suffering, illness, injury, aging, and death are unavoidable parts of being human. Emotional suffering, heartbreak, disappointment, grief, and anxiety are universal experiences. Circumstantial suffering, natural disasters, societal inequalities, and random misfortunes occur without warning. The Stoics understood that trying to avoid suffering entirely is futile. Instead, they taught that accepting its inevitability allows us to grow stronger. As Seneca wrote, "Difficulty strengthens the mind, as labor does the body." While suffering is unavoidable, it serves a profound purpose. The Stoics believed that hardships are opportunities for growth. They refine us, test our character, and build resilience. Think about it. A seed must break apart to grow into a tree. A muscle must endure strain to grow stronger. Similarly, the human spirit must face adversity to develop courage, patience, and wisdom. Suffering forces us to confront our weaknesses and push beyond our limits. It is through enduring pain that we discover what we are truly capable of. The Stoic approach to suffering is rooted in perspective. They believe that while we cannot control the external events that cause pain, we can control how we interpret and respond to them. This is where the power of reframing comes in. Marcus Aurelius encouraged this mindset. Reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears. For example, instead of seeing failure as a personal defeat, view it as a lesson in what doesn't work. Instead of resenting hardship, see it as a test of your endurance and inner strength. Instead of fearing pain, embrace it as a reminder of your humanity and a chance to grow. This shift in perspective is not about denying the reality of suffering, but about transforming how we experience it. Throughout history, countless individuals have embodied the Stoic philosophy by embracing suffering and turning it into strength. Here are a few powerful examples. Viktor Frankl, the psychologist and Holocaust survivor, found meaning in his suffering, even in the horrors of a concentration camp. He later wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." Frankl's ability to find purpose in his suffering is a testament to the Stoic belief in mastering the mind. Nelson Mandela. After spending 27 years in prison, Mandela emerged not with bitterness but with wisdom and compassion. His suffering shaped him into a leader who could inspire reconciliation in a divided nation. Admiral James Stockdale, a POW during the Vietnam War, Stockdale credited Stoicism with helping him endure unimaginable suffering. He focused on what he could control, his own thoughts and actions, and refused to let despair consume him. These examples illustrate the transformative power of accepting and learning from suffering. To apply this truth to your own life, consider practicing the following Stoic exercises. Negative visualization, premeditatio malorum. Imagine worst-case scenarios in your life: losing a job, failing an exam, or facing rejection. By mentally preparing for these outcomes, you'll be less likely to feel overwhelmed when they occur. Voluntary discomfort. Deliberately expose yourself to minor discomforts, such as fasting, taking cold showers, or walking in uncomfortable weather. These practices build resilience and remind You that you can endure more than you think. Journaling. Reflect daily on the challenges you faced and how you responded to them. Ask yourself, did I focus on what I could control? How can I reframe this experience? When you embrace the inevitability of suffering and use it as a tool for growth, the benefits are profound. Resilience. You become less shaken by life's challenges and more adaptable in the face of change. Inner peace. By focusing on what you can control, you free yourself from unnecessary worry and frustration. Strength of character. Suffering shapes you into a person of courage, patience, and wisdom. The Stoics understood that while suffering is unavoidable, it is also what makes life meaningful. It is through our struggles that we become stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Life is suffering. But as the Stoics teach us, that's okay. By accepting this truth and reframing how we view pain, we can transform suffering into a source of strength and freedom. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. So the next time life throws a storm your way, don't fight it. Instead, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow stronger? In embracing the storm, you'll find the calm within. Truth 2. You are not in control and you never were. One of the most liberating yet challenging truths taught by the Stoics is that control is an illusion. From the weather to the actions of others, much of life exists outside our influence. Epictetus captured this idea perfectly when he said, "Some things are up to us and some things are not." At first, this truth can feel unsettling. If we don't control what happens to us, are we just powerless spectators in our own lives? Not at all. The Stoics argued that while we don't control external events, we do control our inner responses. Mastering this distinction is the key to living a peaceful and purposeful life. The first step in embracing this truth is to clearly identify what you can and cannot control. The Stoics divided the world into two categories. What you can control: your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, your values and beliefs. What you cannot control: other people's opinions or actions, natural events like the weather or disasters, the past and the future, random events or luck. This simple framework helps you direct your energy toward what truly matters: your own mind and behavior. Marcus Aurelius summed it up well. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Many of life's frustrations arise from trying to control the uncontrollable. Think about common sources of stress. Traffic, you can't control the congestion, but you can control your attitude. Criticism, you can't stop others from judging you, but you can decide how much their opinions matter. Rejection, you can't force someone to accept or love you, but you can choose to love yourself. When you focus on what is beyond your control, you waste energy and create unnecessary suffering. Instead, by shifting your focus inward, you reclaim your peace of mind. The Stoics taught that letting go of control doesn't mean giving up. Instead, it means accepting reality as it is while focusing on what you can influence. This perspective is liberating because it allows you to let go of stress and anxiety over things you can't change. For example, the Stockdale Paradox. Admiral James Stockdale, a POW during the Vietnam War, survived years of torture and captivity by adopting a Stoic mindset. He focused on his inner response, not his external conditions. Stockdale credited his survival to accepting his lack of control over his captors while maintaining control over his thoughts and choices. This approach demonstrates the power of focusing inward, even in extreme circumstances. When you let go of control, you can begin to see challenges not as obstacles but as opportunities. This reframing is a core Stoic practice. External challenge. Imagine you lose your job. You can't change the layoff, but you can view it as an opportunity to explore new career paths. Interpersonal conflict. Someone insults you. You can't control their behavior, but you can choose to respond calmly and with dignity. Unexpected setback. Your flight is delayed. You can't make the plane arrive faster, but you can use the time to read, reflect, or relax. By focusing on your inner response, you turn every challenge into a chance for growth. To apply this truth in your daily life, practice the following techniques. The dichotomy of control. Before reacting to a situation, ask yourself, is this within my control or not? If it's not, let it go. If it is, take action. Mindfulness and acceptance. Use mindfulness techniques to stay present and accept reality as it unfolds. For example, if it's raining on your vacation, focus on enjoying the moment rather than lamenting the lost sunshine. Gratitude practice. Instead of focusing on what's outside your control, reflect on what you're grateful for. Gratitude shifts your perspective and helps you focus on what you have rather than what you lack. When you accept that you're not in control of external events, life becomes less overwhelming. Here's how this shift benefits you. Reduced anxiety. You stop worrying about things you can't change. Increased resilience. You handle setbacks with grace, knowing they don't define you. Clarity of purpose. By focusing on what you can control, you spend your energy on meaningful pursuits. This mindset doesn't make life easier, but it does make you stronger. Imagine a scenario where everything goes wrong. Your car breaks down. You miss an important meeting. It starts pouring rain as you walk to a repair shop. How would a Stoic respond? They would acknowledge the inconvenience, but refuse to let it ruin their peace of mind. Instead, they would focus on what they can control. Call for help calmly. Reschedule the meeting. Find shelter or embrace the rain as part of the journey. By reframing the situation, they preserve their inner peace even in chaos. Accepting what you cannot control requires courage. It means facing uncertainty without fear, knowing that you have the inner strength to adapt and endure. As Seneca said, if you really want to escape the things that harass you, what you're needing is not to be in a different place but to be a different person. When you stop resisting reality and start working with it, life becomes less of a struggle and more of a flow. The truth that you are not in control may seem harsh, but it is ultimately freeing. When you stop fighting the uncontrollable, you find peace. As Epictetus taught, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. So the next time you face an obstacle, pause and ask yourself, is this something I can control? If the answer is no, let it go. If the answer is yes, take action. In this way, you align with reality and unlock the true power of your inner self. Truth 3. Happiness is an internal choice. Happiness is often thought of as the ultimate goal of life. Yet for many it remains frustratingly out of reach. Why? Because we frequently look for happiness in all the wrong places. External possessions, achievements, or other people's approval. The Stoics teach us a radically different perspective. Happiness is not something you find outside of yourself. It's an internal choice, a state of mind you cultivate regardless of your circumstances. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, emphasized this idea when he said, "A wise man is content with his lot, whatever it may be, without wishing for what he is not." Let's explore how this Stoic principle can transform your understanding of happiness and help you reclaim control over your emotional well-being. We often believe that achieving external goals or acquiring possessions will bring lasting happiness. However, the Stoics observed that this kind of happiness is temporary and fragile. Material possessions, new gadgets, clothes, or cars may bring momentary excitement, but the feeling fades as you adapt to them. Achievements, promotions, awards, or milestones can give you a sense of accomplishment, but the satisfaction is often short-lived. Other people's opinions. Seeking validation from others can feel rewarding, but it leaves you vulnerable to rejection and criticism. The Stoics understood that placing your happiness in external things means tying it to factors you can't control. When those things disappear or fail to meet your expectations, you're left feeling empty. As Epictetus wisely noted, it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The Stoics believed that true happiness, or eudaimonia, comes from living in alignment with virtue and reason. In other words, happiness isn't about what you have, but about how you live. Living with virtue. Happiness arises from practicing wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control, mastering your mind. By cultivating rational thoughts and focusing on what you can control, you create inner peace. Marcus Aurelius explained this beautifully. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Your perspective determines your happiness. The same event can be a source of joy or misery depending on how you interpret it. For example, losing a job can feel devastating, But it can also be seen as an opportunity to pursue a more fulfilling career. A rainy day might ruin outdoor plans, but it could also be an excuse to enjoy a cozy day indoors. A failed relationship could leave you heartbroken, or it could teach you valuable lessons about love and growth. By reframing your perspective, you reclaim your power over how external events affect you. The Stoics emphasize the importance of gratitude as a practice for cultivating happiness. Instead of focusing on what you lack, they taught the value of appreciating what you already have. Reflect on your blessings. Take time each day to acknowledge the good in your life, your health, loved ones, or simple pleasures. Value the present moment. Avoid dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. Happiness exists in the here and now, as Seneca advised. True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future. To embody this truth in your life, consider these Stoic exercises. Negative visualization, premeditatio malorum. Imagine losing the things you value most, your home, your loved ones, your health. This practice helps you appreciate what you have and reminds you not to take anything for granted. Voluntary simplicity. Live simply for a period of time. For example, spend a week avoiding luxury or indulgence. This exercise shows you that happiness doesn't depend on material wealth. Daily reflection. At the end of each day, reflect on what brought you joy and what challenges you overcame. This helps you focus on growth and gratitude. History and modern life are filled with examples of people who found happiness through inner strength, not external circumstances. Nelson Mandela. Despite spending 27 years in prison, Mandela maintained his dignity and optimism. His happiness came from his inner resolve, not his external conditions. Viktor Frankl, the psychologist and Holocaust survivor, found meaning in his suffering, proving that happiness can be found even in the darkest of times. Minimalist lifestyles. Many modern individuals embrace minimalism, choosing to focus on meaningful experiences rather than accumulating possessions. These examples illustrate that happiness is less about what happens to you and more about how you respond to it. When you shift your focus inward, the benefits are profound. Resilience. You become less dependent on external factors for your well-being. Inner peace. By accepting life as it is, you free yourself from unnecessary stress and disappointment. Contentment. You learn to appreciate what you have rather than constantly striving for more. This mindset doesn't mean you stop pursuing goals or enjoying life's pleasures. It simply means you stop relying on them for your happiness. Imagine you're on a deserted island with no possessions, no achievements to flaunt, and no one to validate you. Could you still be happy? The Stoics would argue yes, because true happiness doesn't depend on external circumstances. It comes from living in alignment with your values, mastering your mind, and finding joy in the present moment. Ask yourself, what makes me happy right now without relying on external things? How can I cultivate more of that happiness from within? Happiness is not something you chase. It's something you choose. By letting go of external attachments and focusing on your inner world, you unlock a source of joy that no one can take away. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. So the next time you find yourself searching for happiness outside of yourself, pause and remember, everything you need is already within you. Choose to nurture it, and you'll find a happiness that endures. Truth 4, death is always near. Death is the one certainty in life. It is inevitable, impartial, and unpredictable. Yet it is also the one truth most people fear, avoid, or ignore. The Stoics, however, approached death differently. Instead of fearing it, they embraced it as a constant companion and teacher. This practice, known as memento mori, remember you will die, was central to Stoic philosophy. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." The Stoics believed that by keeping death in mind, we could learn to live more fully, appreciate the present, and align our actions with what truly matters. The fear of death is deeply ingrained in human nature. It stems from several factors. The unknown. Death represents the ultimate mystery. What lies beyond life is something no one can definitively answer. Attachment to life. We fear losing the people, possessions, and experiences we cherish. Regret. The thought of dying with unfinished goals or unresolved conflicts can be unsettling. These fears often lead us to avoid thinking about death entirely. However, the Stoics argued that denying death only magnifies its power over us. Instead, they encouraged us to confront it head-on. To the Stoics, death was not an enemy but a natural part of life's cycle. They believed that accepting death could free us from fear and help us focus on what truly matters. Epictetus taught, "I cannot escape death, but at least I can escape the fear of it." The Stoic view of death can be summarized in 3 key principles. Death is natural. Just as birth is part of life, so too is death. It is neither good nor bad, it simply is. 2. Death is a reminder. The impermanence of life motivates us to live fully and wisely. Death is beyond our control. Since we cannot prevent it, we should not waste energy fearing it. Practicing memento mori, actively remembering your mortality, can profoundly impact how you live. Gratitude for the present moment. When you acknowledge that each day could be your last, you become more appreciative of the here and now. Small moments, a conversation with a friend, the warmth of the sun take on greater significance. Clarity of priorities. Remembering death helps you focus on what truly matters. Would you spend hours scrolling through social media if you knew your time was limited? Would you hold grudges or waste time on trivial arguments? Courage to take risks. Fear of failure often holds us back from pursuing our dreams. But when you realize that death is inevitable, the fear of trying pales in comparison. Seneca captured this mindset when he wrote, "Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing." The Stoics practiced memento mori in various ways. You can incorporate these practices into your own life to develop a healthier relationship with mortality. Daily reflection on death. Begin or end your day by reflecting on the fact that life is finite. Ask yourself, if today were my last day, how would I spend it? Have I told the people I care about how much they mean to me? Am I living in alignment with my values? Visualize your funeral. Imagine your own funeral. What would you want people to say about your life? What legacy would you want to leave behind? Use these reflections to guide your actions. Contemplate the death of others. Reflect on the impermanence of those you love. This may seem morbid, but it helps you appreciate them more deeply while they are still here. Read Stoic texts on death. Study the writings of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus to gain insights into how they approached mortality. Accepting death as a part of life brings profound benefits. Inner peace, letting go of the fear of death, reduces anxiety and allows you to focus on living. Greater appreciation. Life becomes more meaningful when you realize it is finite. Authentic living. You stop wasting time on superficial pursuits and focus on what truly matters. This mindset doesn't mean becoming morbid or fixated on death. Instead, it's about using the reality of death to inspire a richer, more intentional life. Throughout history, individuals who embraced memento mori have demonstrated its transformative power. Marcus Aurelius, as Roman emperor, Marcus faced constant challenges and uncertainty. His reflections on death, recorded in Meditations, helped him maintain perspective and focus on his duties. Steve Jobs, the late Apple CEO, famously said, "Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life." Jobs credited this awareness with inspiring his boldest decisions. Samurai warriors. In feudal Japan, samurai meditated on their mortality daily, believing that awareness of death made them fearless in battle and wise in life. These examples show that embracing death leads to courage, clarity, and purpose. It's natural to feel discomfort when thinking about death. However, avoiding the topic doesn't change its reality. The Stoics remind us that facing our mortality is a sign of wisdom and strength. Ask yourself, am I living in a way that honors the fact that my time is limited? What unfinished business or unspoken words would I regret if I died today? How can I use the knowledge of death to live more authentically? Death is always near, but this is not a cause for despair. Instead, it is an invitation to live fully. Cherish the present and align your actions with what truly matters. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, it is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. So don't wait for tomorrow to pursue your dreams. Express your love or live your values. Remember, Life is short, but it is enough if you live it well. Truth 5. Opinions are just noise. In today's world, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the opinions of others. Social media, societal expectations, and the judgments of those around us can seem like a constant, oppressive noise. Yet the Stoics taught that opinions, whether praise or criticism, are ultimately meaningless unless we allow them to affect us. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinions than our own. By learning to let go of the weight of opinions, you can achieve true freedom and focus on living authentically." Human beings are social creatures. Throughout history, survival often depended on being accepted by the group. This instinct to seek approval and avoid rejection has persisted into modern life, where praise feels validating and boosts self-esteem. Criticism feels like a threat to our identity or worth. While this instinct made sense in ancient times, it now leads us to prioritize others' opinions over our own values. The Stoics believed this was a mistake, as it places your peace of mind in the hands of others. The Stoics understood that opinions are external events, things we cannot control. What others think or say about you is a reflection of their perspective, not your reality. Epictetus captured this perfectly. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In other words, caring too much about opinions prevents growth and authenticity. Instead, the Stoics taught that you should focus on living virtuously, regardless of what others think. Both praise and criticism can be harmful if you place too much importance on them. Praise can be intoxicating, but it is also fleeting. When you rely on external validation for your happiness, you become dependent on others' approval. This makes you vulnerable to manipulation and disappointment. Criticism can feel like a personal attack, but it is often more about the critic than about you. The Stoics remind us that other people's judgments are shaped by their values, experiences, and biases, not an objective truth about your worth. As Marcus Aurelius advised, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. The Stoics practiced reframing opinions to neutralize their emotional impact. Here are some practical ways to do this. When someone criticizes or praises you, ask yourself, does this person's opinion align with my values? Are they informed or biased? Does their perspective truly matter to my life? Focus on your virtue. Your character is the only thing within your control. If you are acting in accordance with your values, the opinions of others are irrelevant. See opinions as passing events. Treat opinions like the weather, something external and impermanent. Just as a storm doesn't define the sky, someone's judgment doesn't define you. To apply this truth in your life, try these exercises. The observer mindset. When you receive praise or criticism, imagine it as a sound passing through a room. Observe it without attaching emotion. Daily reflection. At the end of each day, reflect on whether you let others' opinions influence your actions. Ask yourself, did I act according to my values? Did I let praise or criticism affect my peace of mind? Write down a list of worries related to others' opinions. Separate them into two categories. What is within your control? Example, your actions. What is outside your control? Example, more their thoughts. Let go of the latter. History is full of individuals who succeeded by ignoring the noise of opinions. Galileo Galilei. Despite being ridiculed and condemned for his scientific beliefs, Galileo stood firm in his pursuit of truth. He prioritized knowledge over public approval. Rosa Parks. When Rosa Parks refused to give up her bus seat, she faced widespread criticism. However, her courageous act of defiance became a pivotal moment in the civil rights movement. Albert Einstein, labeled a poor student and ridiculed for his unconventional theories. Einstein ignored the opinions of others and went on to revolutionize science. These examples remind us that greatness often requires tuning out the noise and staying true to yourself. When you stop caring about others' opinions, you unlock a new level of freedom and inner peace. Authenticity. You live in alignment with your true self, not someone else's expectations. Resilience. Criticism loses its power to hurt you, and praise no longer controls you. Focus. You stop wasting energy on pleasing others and channel it into meaningful pursuits. As Seneca wrote, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears." In other words, life is too short to waste on worrying about others' judgments. Imagine you are on your deathbed reflecting on your life. Ask yourself, did I live according to my own values, or did I let others dictate my choices? Did I spend my energy trying to impress others, or did I focus on meaningful goals? How much of my life was wasted worrying about opinions that didn't matter? This thought experiment helps you prioritize what truly matters and let go of external noise. Opinions are just noise. They are external, fleeting, and often irrelevant to your life's purpose. By focusing on your own values and actions, you can free yourself from the weight of others' judgments. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your inner voice. So the next time someone praises or criticizes you, pause and ask yourself, does this opinion align with my values? If not, let it pass like a breeze. Your life is yours to live, unshaken by the noise of the crowd. Truth 6. Progress is better than perfection. Many people strive for perfection, believing it to be the key to success and happiness. But perfection is a mirage, unattainable, unrealistic, and ultimately paralyzing. The Stoics understood that focusing on constant progress, rather than perfection, is the path to growth and fulfillment. As Seneca wrote, begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life. The Stoics remind us that life is not about achieving perfection, but about taking consistent, intentional steps toward becoming the best version of ourselves. The pursuit of perfection often leads to frustration, procrastination, and self-doubt. Here's why perfection is more harmful than helpful. Unrealistic expectations. Perfection sets an unattainable standard, making you feel like a failure when you inevitably fall short. The fear of not being perfect can stop you from even starting. You may delay pursuing your goals because you feel unprepared or inadequate. Life is unpredictable, and mistakes are inevitable. Striving for perfection denies the natural imperfections of life. Marcus Aurelius warned against perfectionism when he said, don't hope for perfection, be satisfied with making progress. The Stoics believed that progress, not perfection, is the true measure of a life well lived. They emphasized small, consistent efforts over grand, unattainable goals, daily improvement. Instead of trying to achieve perfection overnight, focus on being slightly better than you were yesterday. Mastery over time. Progress compounds. Over time, small steps lead to significant growth, much like water carving a path through stone. Acceptance of flaws. Recognize that imperfections are part of being human. The Stoics taught that accepting your flaws is the first step toward self-improvement. Epictetus said, no great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig. If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer you that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen. The Stoic principle of focusing on progress aligns with modern psychology's concept of micro-habits. Small, manageable changes are more sustainable and effective than drastic, perfection-driven goals. For example, instead of aiming to master a skill immediately, commit to practicing it for 15 minutes a day. Rather than trying to completely eliminate a bad habit, focus on reducing it incrementally. Celebrate small victories as they build momentum and confidence. These small steps, when repeated consistently, lead to transformative results. One of the biggest barriers to progress is the fear of failure. Perfectionism magnifies this fear, making you hesitate to take risks or try new things. The Stoics, however, viewed failure as a natural part of growth. Reframe failure as feedback. Failure is not a final judgment, but a learning opportunity. Each mistake teaches you something valuable. Detach from outcomes. Focus on the effort, not the result. As the Stoics taught, you cannot control the outcome, but you can control your actions. Embrace the journey. Progress is a journey, not a destination. By embracing the process, you free yourself from the pressure of perfection. Seneca wisely said, while we are postponing, life speeds by. Begin now to live. To cultivate a mindset of progress, practice the following Stoic techniques. At the end of each day, reflect on what you did well and where you can improve. Ask yourself, did I take a step forward today? What can I do better tomorrow? Set small, specific goals. Break big goals into smaller, manageable steps. For example, if you want to write a book, commit to writing 1 page a day. Focus on what you can control. Instead of worrying about external factors, concentrate on your own effort and attitude. Embrace the present moment. Avoid the trap of thinking you need to be perfect before taking action. Start where you are with what you have. Throughout history, great achievements have been built on small, consistent progress rather than an obsession with perfection. Leonardo da Vinci, the renowned artist and inventor, spent years refining his works, often leaving projects incomplete because he believed in continuous improvement rather than perfection. Thomas Edison, Edison's invention of the light bulb, was the result of thousands of failed experiments. He famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Athletes and performers, professional athletes, musicians, and performers improve through daily practice and incremental progress, not by expecting flawless performance from the start. These examples demonstrate the power of persistence and progress. When you focus on progress rather than perfection, the benefits are profound. Reduced stress. You stop pressuring yourself to achieve impossible standards. Increased resilience. Mistakes and setbacks become part of the journey, not obstacles. Sustainable growth, small, consistent efforts are easier to maintain and lead to lasting change. As Marcus Aurelius advised, do what you can with what you have where you are. Nothing more is required. Picture your life as a long journey up a mountain. Along the way, you will stumble, face storms, and encounter unexpected detours. But each step, no matter how small, brings you closer to the summit. Ask yourself, am I focusing on the next step, or am I obsessing over reaching the top? Do I allow small setbacks to derail me, or do I use them as lessons? Am I celebrating my progress, or am I waiting for perfection to feel accomplished? This thought experiment reminds you that progress is the real measure of success. Perfection is an illusion, but progress is within your grasp. By taking consistent, intentional steps forward, you can achieve meaningful growth and live a fulfilling life. The Stoics remind us that life is not about being flawless, but about striving to be better, one day at a time. As Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. So embrace your imperfections, take the next step, and trust in the process. Progress, not perfection, is the key to mastering life. Truth 7. Pain and pleasure are neutral. Pain and pleasure dominate much of human decision-making. We seek pleasure to feel good and avoid pain at all costs. However, the Stoics taught that both pain and pleasure are neutral. They are neither inherently good nor bad. It's our interpretation of these experiences that gives them power over us. Epictetus said, "It is not events themselves that disturb people, but their judgments about them." By learning to view pain and pleasure as neutral, you can free yourself from their control and live with greater clarity and resilience. To understand why the Stoics viewed pain and pleasure as neutral, it helps to consider these key points. They are temporary. Both pain and pleasure are fleeting. A moment of physical discomfort or a brief burst of joy will pass, leaving no permanent mark. They are subjective. What one person finds painful or pleasurable, another may find indifferent. For example, some people find exercise enjoyable, while others see it as a chore. They do not define you. Pain and pleasure are external sensations. They don't reflect your character or worth. How you respond to them, however, does. The Stoics believe that instead of reacting impulsively to pain or pleasure, we should strive to remain indifferent, focusing instead on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and values. Pleasure is often seen as the ultimate goal, but the Stoics warn that an unbalanced pursuit of pleasure can lead to harm. Addiction to comfort. Constantly seeking pleasure can make you weak and dependent. You become unwilling to face discomfort or challenges. Moral compromise. In the pursuit of pleasure, people may abandon their principles, harming themselves or others. The hedonic treadmill. The more you seek pleasure, the more you adapt to it, leaving you unsatisfied and constantly chasing the next high. Seneca wrote, "Pleasures, when they go beyond a certain limit, are but punishments." By recognizing the fleeting nature of pleasure, you can enjoy it without becoming enslaved by it. While most people try to avoid pain, the Stoics saw it as an opportunity for growth. Pain, whether physical or emotional, can teach us resilience, patience, and wisdom. Building strength. Just as muscles grow stronger through resistance, the mind becomes stronger through enduring hardship. Learning and growth. pain often accompanies growth. For example, the pain of failure can teach valuable lessons, and the discomfort of discipline leads to progress. Perspective. Pain reminds us of what truly matters. It can help us appreciate life's blessings and prioritize what's important. Marcus Aurelius advised, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." The Stoics practiced reframing their experiences of pain and pleasure to maintain their inner peace. Here's how you can do the same. View pain as a challenge. Instead of seeing pain as a punishment, view it as a test of your resilience. Ask yourself, how can I grow stronger from this experience? See pleasure as a bonus. Enjoy pleasure when it comes, but don't rely on it for happiness. Treat it as a fleeting gift, not a necessity. Focus on your values. When faced with pain or pleasure, ask yourself, does my response align with my values and principles? By reframing these experiences, you gain control over how they affect you. To develop a Stoic mindset toward pain and pleasure, try these practices. Voluntary discomfort. Deliberately expose yourself to small discomforts, such as fasting, taking cold showers, or giving up a luxury for a week. This builds resilience and reduces your dependence on comfort. Imagine experiencing pain or losing a source of pleasure. By mentally preparing for these scenarios, you reduce their power to disturb you. Observe pain and pleasure as sensations, without attaching judgment. For example, if you feel discomfort during a workout, notice it without labeling it as bad. At the end of each day, reflect on how you responded to pain and pleasure. Did you let them control you, or did you remain indifferent? Many individuals throughout history have demonstrated the Stoic approach to pain and pleasure. Viktor Frankl. In his book Man's Search for Meaning, Frankl described how he found purpose and inner strength while enduring the horrors of a Nazi concentration camp. He focused on his response to suffering, not the suffering itself. Athletes and artists. Professional athletes endure physical pain during training, and artists push through frustration and failure. Their success comes from focusing on the process, rather than avoiding discomfort or chasing fleeting rewards. Everyday heroes. Consider parents sacrificing their own comfort for their children's well-being, or individuals overcoming hardships to help others. These examples show that enduring pain for a higher purpose leads to fulfillment. When you see pain and pleasure as neutral, you free yourself from their control and experience greater peace and clarity. Resilience. Pain no longer breaks you. It strengthens you. Freedom. You are no longer enslaved by the pursuit of pleasure. Focus. By detaching from distractions, you can concentrate on your values and goals. Seneca summed this up beautifully. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. What would life be like if you never experienced pain or pleasure? Would you truly grow, or would you remain stagnant? Ask yourself, how has pain shaped my character and resilience? Have I ever regretted enduring pain for a meaningful purpose? How much time do I waste chasing pleasure, only to feel unfulfilled afterward? This thought experiment helps you appreciate the role of pain and pleasure in your journey of growth. Pain and pleasure are neither good nor bad. They are simply experiences. By mastering your response to them, you can live a life of freedom and purpose. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, if you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your judgment about it. And it is in your power to wipe out this judgment now. So the next time you encounter pain or pleasure, pause and remind yourself, this does not define me. My response does. With this mindset, you'll find strength in discomfort and wisdom in moderation, living a life that is steady, focused, and free. Truth 8. Emotions are not your enemy. Emotions are powerful forces that shape our decisions, relationships, and lives. However, many people misunderstand their role. Some view emotions as uncontrollable enemies, while others let them dominate their actions. The Stoics taught a balanced approach. Emotions are not your enemy, but they must be mastered and guided by reason. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Emotions are natural, but it is how you respond to them that defines your character and your life. The Stoics did not advocate for suppressing emotions. Instead, they believed in understanding and managing them. They divided emotions into two categories. Healthy emotions, eupatheia. These are rational emotions aligned with virtue, such as joy, love, and a sense of justice. Unhealthy emotions, pathe. These are irrational and excessive emotions, like anger, fear, and envy, which arise from faulty judgments and disrupt inner peace. The goal of Stoicism is not to eliminate emotions, but to transform unhealthy emotions into healthy ones by mastering your thoughts and judgments. Emotions often feel overwhelming because they are deeply tied to our perceptions and beliefs. For example, anger arises when we believe we have been wronged. Fear stems from anticipating harm or loss. Jealousy comes from comparing ourselves to others and feeling inadequate. The Stoics argued that these emotions are not caused by external events but by our interpretation of those events. Epictetus famously said, "Men are disturbed not by things but by the views they take of them." By changing your perspective, you can regain control over your emotions. The Stoics believed that reason is the key to mastering emotions. When emotions arise, they are often based on incomplete or irrational thoughts. By engaging your rational mind, you can challenge these thoughts and respond more effectively. For example, if you feel angry, ask yourself, is this anger helping the situation, or is it clouding my judgment? If you feel afraid, ask, what is the worst-case scenario, and can I handle it? This process helps you move from reactive emotional responses to thoughtful, intentional actions. The Stoics developed several practices to help manage emotions effectively. Here are some techniques you can use. Pause and reflect. When you feel a strong emotion, pause before reacting. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? Is this reaction helpful or harmful? Reframe the situation. Try to see the event from a different perspective. For example, instead of seeing a setback as a failure, view it as an opportunity to learn and grow. Write about your emotions at the end of each day. Reflect on what triggered them, how you responded, and what you could do differently next time. Imagine the worst-case scenario for a situation you're worried about. This helps reduce fear by showing you that you can handle the outcome. Gratitude practice. Focus on what you have rather than what you lack. Gratitude can counteract feelings of envy, anger, and fear. When you learn to manage your emotions, the benefits are profound. You are no longer at the mercy of external events or irrational thoughts. By responding calmly and rationally, you avoid unnecessary conflict and build stronger connections. Emotions no longer cloud your judgment, allowing you to make wiser choices. You can face challenges with confidence, knowing that your emotions won't overwhelm you. Marcus Aurelius captured this beautifully. You have power over your mind. Realize this and you will find strength. Throughout history, many individuals have demonstrated the power of mastering emotions. Nelson Mandela. Despite spending 27 years in prison, Mandela emerged with grace and forgiveness, refusing to let anger or bitterness define him. Viktor Frankl. In the face of unimaginable suffering during the Holocaust, Frankl focused on finding meaning and purpose, showing extraordinary emotional resilience. Modern leaders who remain calm and composed during crises inspire trust and make better decisions, illustrating the importance of emotional mastery. These examples show that managing emotions is not about suppressing them, but about channeling them constructively. When emotions are left unchecked, they can lead to impulsive decisions. Acting out of anger or fear often results in regret. Damaged relationships. Uncontrolled emotions can hurt those around you. Loss of focus. Emotional turmoil distracts you from your goals and values. By mastering your emotions, you protect yourself from these consequences and create a more balanced life. Imagine you are watching yourself from a distance during a moment of strong emotion. Ask yourself, what triggered this emotion? Am I reacting based on facts or assumptions? How would a calm and rational person respond? This thought experiment helps you detach from the emotion and see it objectively, allowing you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Emotions are not your enemy. They are signals that can guide you if managed wisely. By mastering your thoughts and responses, you can transform emotions into powerful allies. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by an emotion, pause, reflect, and choose your response. With practice, you'll discover that emotions don't control you. You control them. This mastery is not just the essence of Stoicism, but the key to a fulfilled and balanced life. Truth 9. Time is your most valuable asset. Time is the one resource you can never get back. You can lose money and earn it again. You can repair relationships or regain health. But every second that passes is gone forever. The Stoics understood the fleeting nature of time and emphasized the importance of using it wisely. Seneca captured this truth in his essay on the shortness of life. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Life is long if you know how to use it. By recognizing the value of time and managing it with intention, you can live a more meaningful and fulfilling life. Despite its value, time is often wasted due to distractions, procrastination, and poor priorities. Here are some common reasons people squander time. Distractions. Social media, endless entertainment, and other trivial activities consume hours of our lives without adding real value. Procrastination, fear of failure or perfectionism, often leads to delaying important tasks. Lack of awareness. Many people don't reflect on how they spend their time, letting it slip away unnoticed. Seneca warned against this careless approach to time. You act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire. The first step in reclaiming your time is to become aware of how you're using it. For the Stoics, time was not something to be wasted or taken for granted. It was a sacred resource to be spent on what truly matters. Living virtuously. The Stoics believed time should be used to cultivate wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. Pursuing meaningful goals. Time spent on personal growth, relationships, and meaningful work is never wasted. Being present, rather than dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. The Stoics emphasized living fully in the present moment. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good." One of the greatest traps in life is the illusion that we have unlimited time. This mindset leads to procrastination and misplaced priorities. Consider these common thoughts. I'll start tomorrow. There's plenty of time for that later. I'll focus on what matters when I'm older. The Stoics remind us that tomorrow is not guaranteed. Seneca advised, begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life. To live fully, you must prioritize what truly matters. Here's how the Stoics recommend spending your time. Invest in self-improvement. Dedicate time to learning, reflecting, and growing as a person. Read philosophy, practice mindfulness, and develop new skills. Spend time with loved ones and express your appreciation for them. Don't wait to repair broken relationships or show gratitude. Focus on activities that align with your values and contribute to something greater than yourself. Reduce time spent on distractions, gossip, or activities that don't add value to your life. Marcus Aurelius emphasized this focus. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Here are some Stoic-inspired practices to help you make the most of your time. Daily reflection. At the end of each day, review how you spent your time. Ask yourself, did I focus on what truly matters? Did I waste time on distractions? What can I improve tomorrow? Prioritize the present. Practice mindfulness to stay fully engaged in the current moment. Avoid dwelling on the past or worrying excessively about the future. Imagine you are at the end of your life looking back. What would you regret not doing? Use this perspective to prioritize your time. Schedule your day in blocks of focused time, allocating specific periods for important tasks. Relationships and self-care. Failing to value your time leads to regret, unfulfilled potential, and a life spent on trivial pursuits. Seneca described this vividly. While we are postponing, life speeds by. Ask yourself, how much of your time is spent on activities that truly matter? How often do you let distractions dictate your day? What legacy will you leave if you continue using time the way you are now? Throughout history, many individuals have demonstrated the power of prioritizing time. Leonardo da Vinci, known for his immense curiosity and productivity, Da Vinci made the most of his time by dedicating himself to constant learning and creation. Steve Jobs, the late Apple CEO, famously reflected on his mortality, asking himself daily, "If today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today?" Epictetus, a former slave turned philosopher, Epictetus used his time to study and teach wisdom, leaving a legacy that still inspires millions. These examples show that how you spend your time shapes not only your life but also your impact on the world. Imagine an hourglass with sand flowing from the top to the bottom. The sand at the top represents the time you have left, while the sand at the bottom represents the time you've already spent. Now ask yourself, how much sand is left in my hourglass? Am I using the remaining sand wisely? What would I do differently if I knew the sand would run out tomorrow? This exercise helps you confront the reality of time's finiteness and inspires you to use it well. Time is your most valuable asset because it is finite and irreplaceable. Every moment you waste is a moment you'll never get back. By prioritizing what truly matters and living intentionally, you can make the most of your time and create a life of meaning and purpose. Seneca reminds us, as each day arises, welcome it as the very best day of all and make it your own possession. We must seize what flees, so take control of your time today. Focus on what matters, eliminate distractions, and live each moment fully. Because in the end, time is not just what you spend, it is who you are. Truth 10. You are responsible for your life. It's tempting to blame external factors for the state of our lives. We point to circumstances, people, or bad luck as reasons for our struggles. But the Stoics taught that we alone are responsible for how we live. While we cannot control everything that happens, we can control how we respond. Epictetus captured this truth succinctly. It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Accepting responsibility for your life is both empowering and liberating. It allows you to stop wasting energy on excuses and start building a life aligned with your values. Many people shy away from responsibility because it feels overwhelming. Blaming others or external circumstances is often easier than facing our own choices. Here are some common reasons people avoid taking ownership of their lives. Fear of failure. Taking responsibility means confronting the possibility of making mistakes. Victim mentality. It can feel comforting to see yourself as a victim because it absolves you of responsibility. Lack of self-awareness. Many people aren't aware of how their own actions contribute to their problems. The Stoics remind us that while external factors influence our lives, our response to those factors is entirely within our control. For the Stoics, responsibility begins with understanding what is within your control and what is not. This is the foundation of their philosophy. What you control: your thoughts, actions, values, and choices. What you don't control: other people's opinions, external events, and the outcomes of your efforts. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This means that no matter what happens, you are responsible for how you think, feel, and act. Taking responsibility for your life is a transformative act. It shifts your mindset from helplessness to empowerment, from blame to action. Instead of blaming others, you focus on what you can do to improve your situation. From complaining to problem solving. Complaints achieve nothing, but taking responsibility leads to solutions. From victim to creator. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances and start becoming the creator of your destiny. Seneca advised, "Throw aside the baggage of excuses and do not seek to lay the blame on something else." Taking responsibility for your life requires deliberate effort. Here are some Stoic-inspired steps you can take. Recognize that your current situation is largely the result of your past decisions. Whether good or bad, take ownership and learn from them. Focus on solutions, not excuses. When faced with challenges, ask yourself, what can I do to improve this situation? How can I take control of my response? Spend time each day reflecting on your actions and choices. Ask yourself, did I act according to my values today? What could I have done differently? Embrace failures as lessons. Instead of fearing failure, see it as a chance to grow. Every mistake teaches you something valuable. Many individuals have transformed their lives by taking responsibility for their circumstances. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, Frankl chose to find meaning in his suffering rather than succumbing to despair. His ability to control his response to unimaginable hardship is a testament to the power of personal responsibility. J.K. Rowling. After facing rejection and financial struggles, Rowling took ownership of her dream to write and went on to create one of the most successful book series in history. These examples show that no matter your circumstances, taking responsibility can lead to extraordinary outcomes. When you take full responsibility for your life, the rewards are immense. Empowerment. You feel in control of your life, rather than at the mercy of external forces. Growth. By learning from your mistakes, you continually improve and grow. Freedom. You free yourself from the burden of blame and excuses, allowing you to focus on what truly matters. Avoiding responsibility leads to stagnation, frustration, and regret. Here are some common consequences. Missed opportunities. When you blame others, you miss chances to grow and improve. Dependence on others. Avoiding responsibility leaves you reliant on others for happiness and success. Unfulfilled potential. Refusing to take ownership of your life prevents you from reaching your full potential. Seneca warned, "Life is long if you know how to use it." Imagine living a life where you never take responsibility for your actions or choices. You blame others for your problems and let external factors dictate your happiness. Now ask yourself, would I feel proud of such a life? How much control would I truly have over my destiny? What opportunities would I miss by avoiding responsibility? This thought experiment highlights the emptiness of a life lived without ownership. You are responsible for your life. While you cannot control everything that happens, you can always control how you respond. By taking ownership of your thoughts, actions, and choices, you can create a life of purpose and fulfillment. Epictetus reminds us, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. So stop blaming others, stop making excuses, and start taking responsibility today. The power to shape your life is in your hands. Use it wisely. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Stoic wisdom, and check out my video on the one habit that can restore everything you lost. It's the perfect next step on your journey. Remember, wisdom begins with understanding, and true freedom lies in how you respond to life's challenges. Until next time, stay strong and stay stoic.